welcome back to part 2, that's 2, of the OWLS Readathon vlog. This was just going to be one big vlog, except then I realised that it would have been about 2 hours long, which I thought was a tad excessive. So we're back with part 2. I hope you enjoyed part 1, so now here is the continuation of that. So, since part 1 has ended, it is now, what day is it? I have no idea. It's the 23rd, Thursday the 23rd of April, and I have just finished reading Great Goddesses by Nikita Gill. Jill, I still don't know how you say her name. Yep, I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. I am a huge mythology geek, because I like pretty much everyone my age. Read the Percy Jackson books when I was younger, so I love mythology, especially Greek mythology, and this was all about Greek mythology essentially. I think it's technically like life lessons from myths and monsters or something. So yeah, I really loved it. I really like sort of like, I don't know, like the idea of romanticising the Greek gods and goddesses. I just really like it. I think it's really cool, and this was pretty much exactly that. So I'm less in love with the orange cover though, because if you didn't know, orange is my least favourite colour. But anyway, I have finished that now. Now, I have exactly a week left to finish the readathon, and I am a few books behind, so I need to pick up the pace basically. Today I'm going to be reading Prisoner of Azkaban. I'm hoping to get through at least most of this today because, I mean, it's Harry Potter. I fly through Harry Potter, so my mum's going to Tesco's to do the weekly food shopping, and I'm going to sit in the back of a car again and read this. The last time I read Harry Potter in the back of a car, I read Chamber of Secrets, and I was actually like, I still had like just under half the book to go, and I finished it with time to spare, and then I was just sat in the back of a car twiddling my thumbs like, what do I do now? So yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna get through quite a lot of this. So you know, that's pretty good. I'm thinking like probably about here-ish is how far I should get through in the car, which is pretty good going, and then I want to continue to read a bit more today as well. I do have some videos and things to edit today too, but you know, I'm optimistic that I'll get quite a lot of this read. After that though, I do still have 4 books to read. I have The Wren Hunt still, which is here. I'm gonna try and read sort of a bit of this every day, just to sort of get through it, and then I still have to read Moxie, The Midnight Unicorn, and To Kill a Kingdom. I think after Harry Potter I will probably just sort of knuckle down and finish this one off, because this is the one that is sort of giving me the most friction. The other 3 are actually fairly small compared to this one. Moxie is a contemporary, so I'll get through that pretty quickly. The Midnight Unicorn is pretty thin and also a middle grade, so I'll also fly through that. And then To Kill a Kingdom is the bit heavier one, but again, it's not a huge book, so I think I should be able to do it as long as I like dedicate some solid time to reading, if that makes sense. So yeah, I've got a lot to read in the next week, but I'm positive that I can do it. I am rather behind. I have 4 days to read 4 books. Let's see if I can do it, shall we? Okay, it's Tuesday evening. I am 140 pages into Moxie, which is pretty good going. I do want to read a bit more tonight though. It's 7:20, so I still have some time. I'm hoping to read for about an hour. Obviously I've only got basically 2 days left now because today's pretty much over, and I still have this one, To Kill a Kingdom, and The Midnight Unicorn to read. So I am cutting it a little bit fine, but I'm still perfectly confident that I'll get it done. Thursday I'm going to do sort of like a mini 24-hour readathon as sort of like a last hurrah, but I want to get this one, like I'm not going to finish this one today, not quite, but I do want to get a bit more read. I'll finish it first thing tomorrow. I can then hopefully start, I think I'll probably start To Kill a Kingdom. Technically To Kill a Kingdom is shorter, but The Midnight Unicorn won't take me long at all because it's a middle grade, so I reckon To Kill a Kingdom is a good one to start with. But yeah, I'm just going to carry on reading Moxie for a bit, get through as much of it as I can before I go to bed basically, and we'll see where I get to. Before I start reading though, I do just want to say I just got a text message from my friend Charlie, and he's pre-ordered me a copy of the second Good Girl's Guide to Murder book, And like, thank you so much if you're watching. I'm so excited. Like, if you watched the previous vlog, part 1 of the Readathon vlog, then you know that I fucking loved A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Like, it was so good. I stayed up till freaking midnight reading it because I was like, I can't put it down, I need to know what's happening. And yeah, he just texted me saying that he was pre-ordering one, so he sent one to me as well. So it's going to be here on about May 6th, he thinks. So yeah, I'm really excited, and we're going to read it together, and thank you so much, and I'm so excited. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now because it's cutting into my reading time. Okay, it's Thursday. I was gonna say I've just finished reading a book. I haven't. I finished reading it like an hour ago, and now I've been kind of trying to find my sanity again. Because you know when you've just finished a book and you kind of like, you need a few hours to process it? Yeah, but I don't have a few hours because it's the last day of the readathon and I still need to read the entirety of The Midnight Unicorn before I can call this readathon done. So, I don't believe I verbally updated you yesterday, or at least not after. Maybe I didn't at all actually, I don't think I did. But I finished Moxie yesterday morning. I finished it, like I got up and just immediately finished it. I didn't quite manage to finish it on Tuesday, but then I finished it Wednesday morning. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. I really loved it. There'll be more cohesive thoughts on my blog because I feel like one of the downsides to reading so many books in a short space of time is that you don't really have time to process your thoughts on them because you just have to move straight on to the next book. So there will be more cohesive thoughts on my blog, so if you want to read those then you can go and head over to my blog, which will have gone up a couple of hours earlier to this blog. Yes, which will be going up tomorrow, which is today for you. Honestly, upload schedules are really complicated to wrap your head around. But yeah, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was very well crafted, and obviously it's a feminist novel, and it's, you know, it's all about, you know, Viv, is it? Yes, Viv. I'm honestly getting so confused between characters' names because I've read so many books in such a short space of time. I don't know who's who, but yes, it is Viv in this one. She's fighting back against her school's horrendously sexist everything, basically. And I feel like it really touches on, like, pretty much every point that is, like, you know when you mention feminism, there's always like a certain amount of points that people bring up, like, oh, isn't it just equality, or oh, not all men, you know, all of these sorts of things, and it perfectly addresses each and every one of them, which I thought was really cool. Again, there will be way more cohesive thoughts on my blog about this because I don't really have time to form any cohesive thoughts now because I still have like 400 pages to read before the end of the day, and it's 2:30 in the afternoon. So that brings me on to what I was doing today, which was reading To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. I love floppy books, but it makes it slightly hard to hold because it wants to go backwards. But yeah, I read this whole thing today. I got up first thing this morning, started reading it, and I finished it about an hour ago, so I did pretty well. I gave this one 4.5 out of 5 stars. I did really love it. The only reason it did get 5 was because it was a little bit slow starting for me. I think it took me till about chapter 15 to really get invested, but after that it was really great. And it actually says on the front cover, perfect for fans of LiQWYD and Sarah J Maas. I haven't read any of Sarah J Maas's books, even though I own pretty much all of them. I know it's a problem, I really shouldn't buy books if I don't know if I'm going to like them or not, you know. I also know she's very controversial, but I have not yet gotten around to reading her books, even though I've owned them for like 5 years, which is terrible. But I have read Leigh Bardugo, and we all know how much I love her. So of course that was very promising, and I was very disappointed in the first like 10 chapters, because I was like, this is not living up to what I wanted it to be, because I mean it promised me like Leigh Bardugo, which I wasn't getting. But once I got further in, it was definitely, I felt the Leigh Bardugo vibes. They were very strong, and I loved it very much. One of the main characters, the kind of like the second main character, the prince, he reminds me a lot of the characters from Six of Crows, like the whole thing actually, because it's obviously kind of set at sea. There are like pirates, you know, on a ship, and I don't want to spoil too much, but their ragtag team definitely reminds me a lot of the Six of Crows group. Yeah, I did really like this one. It only got 4.5 out of 5 stars because it was a bit slow starting for me, but I did really love it. And I love that it's floppy. So I have 9.5 hours of the readathon left, and I have, how many pages exactly do I have to read actually? 356 pages to read. This is a middle grade, so the words are slightly bigger, so I'm hoping it won't take me too long to read. And I don't want to be up too late tonight. One, because I'm just not a huge fan of staying up late. A Good Girl Guide to Murder was an exception to that rule because I had to know what was going to happen. But I don't want to be up too late tonight because I need to make sure I'm functional tomorrow so that I can edit this vlog and get it up for you, and also write the blog post and get it up for you. So I need sleep basically, so I want to try and get this one finished at a reasonable time, which basically means I need to start reading it now, because I think on average, depending on the book, if it's something heavier, so something like Leigh Bardugo for example, they're slightly heavier, like the font is generally smaller, I'd probably read about a page a minute, so 60 pages in an hour. The only reason I know this, I actually know very accurately how many pages I read in an hour depending on the genre and stuff, because I had a really bad time at school, and there was this place called The Hub, which is what we called it, and basically if I was really struggling in class, which was all the time, I'd just wave my hub pass at them and I could go and sit in the hub and I could just read. Well, I mean, I was meant to be doing work, but I never did work, I just read. And then they were like, oh, do you want to do some work? And I was like, no. And they were like, okay. And I was like, okay, you're not gonna make me, but you know, I'm gonna put this book down. Yeah, and so obviously the lessons are only an hour long, and so sometimes I would just skive off one lesson and then go to another one. So I knew pretty much exactly how long it takes me to read pages in an hour, which is pretty good. It's very helpful in planning now, because I know how long it takes me to read stuff. So if it's something heavier like Leigh Bardugo, then it takes me about a minute a page, so 60 pages in an hour. But if it's something easier like Percy Jackson, middle grade, then it's usually about 100 pages an hour, which is obviously pretty good. I also read Harry Potter exceedingly quickly. Like, I put Harry Potter's weird because like people class it as a middle grade, but I strongly disagree. I don't think it's a middle grade. You could maybe class the first 2-3 books at a push as a middle grade, but I think after that, like especially once you get to like the 5th book, it's no longer a middle grade, because middle grades don't have, because like they're for kids, you know, so it's not meant to have real stuff, you know, whereas like Harry Potter gets darker and heavier as it goes on. So I can understand the first few books being classed as that, but after that they do get a lot heavier, and I wouldn't class them as middle grade. And I almost like, they don't quite fit into the YA category either, so I don't really know where I'd put them, but they're not middle grade. So I don't know, just my personal opinion. What I was saying was that I've got 356 pages, I said, didn't I? So hopefully that'll take me about 3.5 hours, knowing that I read about 100 pages an hour. That was a very long-winded explanation, but you know. Normally I would want to go for a walk about now, because I always feel a little bit loopy after I finish reading a book. Like, I don't know if that makes sense or if any of you have the same thing, but like I'm almost like so involved in the world that I come back to real life and I'm like, who am I? So I just need to like go and clear my head almost, but I don't know if you can tell. I know you can't see it, but you might have to hear it. It's actually pouring with rain right now, which is actually somewhat comforting because it's been uncharacteristically hot for like a month now, which you know, given the fact that it's literally just the end of April and it's been like hot almost since like the middle of March, is like almost unheard of for England. I mean, it's not completely unheard of, but it's rare. And it's not been great. It's been very suspicious. Like, why? It's also rather depressing since we can't go out and enjoy it. But you know, it's back to raining now, which is slightly comforting. Even though I don't like the rain, it means I can't go for a walk. So in light of the fact that I can't go for a walk, well, I mean I could, but I'm not going to because I hate the rain. Like, I enjoy listening to it, but going out in it is just, it's not the one. So in light of that fact, I'm just gonna start reading because I've got to finish it today. So I'm hoping that because this is a middle grade, I like kind of deliberately saved it for last so that I'd have like an easy read to finish on, so I didn't get like disheartened. But, you know, hopefully I can finish this before dinner, which would be great. It's 25 to 3 now, so should be finished about 7 PM. So let's see how I get on with that. All finished. Okay, it's the next day, as you might be able to tell, so it's Friday the 1st of May, and that means the OWLS Readathon is officially over. And excitingly, I managed to finish it. I'm like so proud of myself that I managed to do it. I didn't film last night because my camera memory was full and I couldn't be bothered to take all the footage off my camera and click the memory cards and stuff to restart. So I was just like, I'll do it in the morning because I've been reading all day and I was done for the day, so here we are. Which, as you saw from my little phone clip that I recorded, I did manage to finish The Midnight Unicorn. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, I believe. It was okay. I think it's, like, because I'm obviously older, it's a middle grade, and some middle grades, like, you know, like Percy Jackson and things, like, they're kind of for all ages, even though it's technically a middle grade. But I think this one is definitely a middle grade, if that makes sense. So it's like, I think if you're like late primary school, early secondary school years, I think you'd really enjoy this. It was very well crafted, it was a really good story, very well written, but it was just a little bit childish for me, because you know I'm almost an adult, but you know, if you've got a child then you should read this. These are all the books that I read in April. I read 12 books and I'm very proud of myself. This stack is really heavy though, so I'm going to put it down. So I'm going to be writing a full wrap up of this whole thing on my blog, so if you want to see like my more in-depth thoughts on each individual book, then you can go and check out my blog. I'll leave a link to it on the screen and down below. But for now I'm just sort of going to run through every book I read and give you my final rating for each one. These are going to be in no particular order, I'm just going to tell you my ratings in the order I picked them up. So let's get started. Great Goddesses, Life Lessons from Myths and Monsters by Nikita Gill. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab, 4.5 out of 5 stars. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling, 5 out of 5 stars, obviously. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, 5 out of 5 stars, 11 out of 5 stars. I loved this book. I actually have the second one here that my friend Charlie very kindly pre-ordered for me. So I'm going to read this as soon as I'm done here. Fierce Fairy Tales and Other Stories to Stir Your Soul by Nikita Gill. 3.5 out of 5 stars. Renewal, Selected Poems by John Idris Jones, 2 out of 5 stars. Heartstopper, Volume 3 by Alice Oseman, 5 out of 5 stars. The Midnight Unicorn by Alice Hemming, 3 out of 5 stars. The Killer Kingdom by Alexandra Christo, 4.5 out of 5 stars. Moxie by Jennifer Matu, 5 out of 5 stars. The Wren Hunt by Mary Watson, 3 out of 5 stars. And finally, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling, 5 out of 5 stars. those are all 12 books that I read in April. Like, I'm so proud of myself for doing it. Taking part in the readathon was so much fun, and I think because it has a bit more structure than some other readathons that are just like, how many books can you read in a week, you know? So it's more like you have a prompt, and not, because a lot of readathons have prompts, but not all of them are like this one particularly. They're all linked to a subject, and each book you read you pass a subject, which then means you can or can't choose later careers and stuff. And obviously there's then the follow-up readathon, which is the Newts, which I believe is in August. So you know, I just think it's really cool that there's so much more structure, and it's sort of like, it motivates you to do more, I guess, because there's like a reward at the end. You have to like earn the career you want to do. And I like that it's like there's like two parts to the readathon. You've got to do the owls and then the Newts. I think that's really cool. And obviously it's Harry Potter themed, which I'm never going to say no to. So overall, I really enjoyed this readathon, and I think it was a really good way for me to get to some books on my TBR that have been there for a shameful amount of time, quite frankly. Like things like Moxie, To Kill a Kingdom, like the Wren Hunt, City of Ghosts. Oh my god, I've been meaning to read City of Ghosts for years, and I've just never gotten around to them because I've been distracted with, like, you know, Cassandra Clare or LiQWYD, their new releases, or other things, or like school and stuff. So I finally managed to get around to them, which is really nice. I think honestly there were quite a few 4 or 5-star reads in that pile. We're not going to count Harry Potter, but I think overall my favourite, it has to be A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, because I loved it. I could not put it down. Every time because it got to like 10 PM at night, and I was like, I need to go to sleep, I'm gonna regret this in the morning. And I tried to put the bookmark back in, and I was like, no, I need to know what happens. So I think A Good Girl's Guide to Murder definitely takes the cake there. They definitely win. But I think other than that, I think I'd have to say my favourites were Heartstopper, Moxie, and City of Ghosts, closely followed by To Kill a Kingdom. So yeah, those are my favourites, obviously discounting Harry Potter because we all love Harry Potter. And unfortunately the one I disliked was Renewals, but I kind of expected that. The thing was that, I don't know if I told you this at the time, that was back in the previous readathon vlog, half of it was in Welsh, which means, and I do not speak Welsh, so I couldn't read half of it. I don't remember if I mentioned this at all, but I think the thing is that the guy who wrote the poems, John Idris Jones, he was born in Ireland, or at least his family had Irish roots. This is just from what I've gathered from reading it. But then he moved to England, and so it was sort of, a lot of the poems were about like how, like, sort of like the destruction of Irish culture, I guess. But some of it is then in Welsh, and it's not like, you know how some things they're written in Welsh to sort of give you the initial vibe, and then it's translated below. It's just, some of it is just in Welsh. And I'm like, great, I don't speak Welsh. I'm trying to find an example, but I can't find one. I don't really know if you can see that, but like this bit here and this bit over here, they're in Welsh. And then there's like a whole paragraph here that's in Welsh as well. So it's like I'm missing part of the story because it's in Welsh, which is, I don't know. I feel like, you know, leave the Welsh in, but maybe put like a translation at the side, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, that was just a sort of funny thing, and I was like, great, that's so not helpful because I don't speak Welsh. But yeah, that's sort of all my thoughts on the books. If you want to read, hear, whatever, more thoughts on the books I read, then you can check out my blog. I will be going more in depth into each of the books about, you know, positive and negatives. I'm also doing a full book review with Charlie for A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. We planned this months ago, like back in January or something, when we were first organising our blog collaboration series, and we picked A Good Girl's Guide to Murder sort of on a whim because it was just one of the few books that was on both of our TBRs that we both owned and were interested in, so we just went with that one. And Charlie actually read it ages ago and I hadn't read it, and I had no idea that we would both love it so much. So, you know, and I think we're going to read the second book as well before we review it, and we're going to do like a joint review. So if you want to hear all my lots of thoughts on A Good Girl's Guide to Murder because I loved it so much, then you can check out that in a month's time. That will be on the last week of May. so you can subscribe to both our blogs. I'll leave them down below. Yeah, anyway, I have been talking for too long, so I hope you enjoyed this vlog and the readathon in general. If you've taken part, then let me know what you read down below. Let me know what OWLS you completed. Give me your ratings for all of them and stuff. I'd love book recommendations, because I've actually managed to get through a good lot of my TBR now, which is great. Still a lot to go though, trust me. I'm thinking of doing a few other readathons in the future. Obviously I will be taking part in the Newts in August, so you can look out for that. And I'm thinking of doing a few other like 24-hour readathons and things in between it as well. So you can subscribe to see all of that. There'll be weekly vlogs as well as so much other content as well, because I have nothing to do, so I've got lots of time. So yeah, like it if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, comment down below and tell me everything you've read this month, and I will see you in the next video.